And so I'm now sharing my screen. Wait till that shows up here. There we go. All right. And Russ, I don't know what you have. It sounds like a bit of an echo. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna be kicking off. Yeah, I'm still getting a lot of echo, Russ. Yeah, video quality. Hopefully this will look a little better, Jack. That's Jackie. I know Jackie. I think he's doing some kind of mixing and stuff. Russ, I'm getting a lot of feedback, but I'm gonna just go ahead and hope. There we go. Now I'm not hearing feedback, so cool. And I see Dwayne is nodding his head, which makes me feel good. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. Like I said, this is Mike Gannotti. I work for Microsoft. I'm a Teams technology specialist. I'm going to be opening up, like I said, with a couple. I didn't know if you could hear me with everything, but a couple of slides. Then we're going to move into a demo and showing you some of the things that I'm talking about that's coming. If you have any kind of questions, happy to take those. But I just want to let you know that the follow-up speakers are doing some very cool stuff around areas that I purposely pulled out of what I was going to show and talk about because I don't want to steal their thunder. So with that in mind, let's go ahead. So meet smarter, stay focused, and achieve more. So I'm going to be talking about some of what's coming down the pike and futures with Microsoft Teams. So let's go ahead. But we're going to open up real quickly and waiting on the, I guess we're doing something with NDI over there. But before we start into what's coming, a couple of things to keep in mind. There we go. I see it popping up. When we talk about Microsoft or meetings in general, we've all had with the pandemic this whole push to work remotely, right? And as everybody's out there, there are all kinds of things going on that help to add to what I call meeting overload as one of the things they have listed here. You know, if you're like me, I'm in meetings all day. And at some point, if they're just meetings where people are droning on and on, you stop being engaged. They're no longer something that you tune into. You start multitasking. We turn the video off like I have it off here, except then we're going to websites or doing other things. There's lack of follow through on meetings where people have all these meetings to talk about things, but they're not capturing and being able to follow through and act on those meetings, you know, and the follow distractions. You know, how many of you have had, if you can just, you know, type yes, me, or whatever, had that occasion where the kids come running in and screaming, or the dog? That's mine. I have two dogs here, you know. So, you know, we have that. Yes, Giselle said she's seen that, and it's, you know, distractions are huge. Yeah, my dog. It's a big deal. And so how do we start to minimize that even when they're not in the room with you? And I'm going to talk about that because we have tech that we've been rolling out that helps with those kind of things. Also, the whole idea of unprepared attendees, right? Where somebody's in the home, no home office. Oh, home office, but no pets or children. So Pam has no distractions. I am not that way. I have many. But you know, the unprepared attendees, people tuning in, and I see this all the time where people will tune into a meeting. They're like, okay, why are we here? What's going on? And we spend a lot of inordinate amount of time getting people up to speed before we can actually dive in to the meat of things. And then finally, attendees not feeling included, right? Where, you know, we're doing things like we're ignoring the Joe Gaspers who are posting about their cat presenting themselves to attendees or other things. We're just, you know, having people out there and we're not doing things to engage them. So, you know, there's a couple of things that we're going to be talking about and looking at that really have to do with people feeling included, providing that inclusiveness, providing follow-up on those meetings, eliminating distractions, and helping with that whole idea of meeting overload, where I don't necessarily have to tune into a whole meeting just for a piece of something that I was hoping to get at. So we're going to move on to our next slide. And we're going to just say that, with Microsoft Teams, the things we were just talking about, we'll be showing you how we can move beyond that. And this is the slide, we'll wait till it catches up here, that I want to focus on, though. And it's this idea of smarter meetings and focusing people's attention. So I'm not going to wait for it to catch up. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. But a couple of things that we want to do when we're talking about, a Microsoft Teams meeting and things that can help us to make our meetings more productive. Number one, beforehand, when you set up a meeting, and Russ, I don't know how we can, with whatever mixing you're doing, how we can keep the things up to speed, but it's going to impair the demo piece if we can't get that part going. But with the before a meeting, number one, chatting. So where I'm with meetings all day with different colleagues and stuff, and we actually will start chats within that meeting interface, and I'm going to show you how we do that before we even have the meeting. We'll start discussions. We'll ask, are you prepared? We'll do things like share documents pre-meeting and get that in there as well, and actually collaborate. I have a C-level presentation we're doing next week, and we've been collaborating with those folks in real time on the meeting, pre-meeting, right? So that we can make sure that we're going to tune in to the things that are important to them. So the meeting's crisp, it's pertinent, not a waste of people's times. Also, if you have a recurring meeting, one of the things that's very helpful is to be able to review the history and context of past meetings as you get ready to move into the next. So my team has a team meeting, and this week, we had to do a presentation that we could provide the Microsoft sales pitch for the Microsoft Cloud Healthcare Solution. Exciting stuff. But what we were able to do was we had some previous meetings with our manager and with each other where he presented about that, shared content, key points to do. And so people were able to go review the history previous, what was suggested, and prepare for this week's meeting where we all had to actually present. So those are some of the things that you can do prior to a meeting, again, to make the meeting pertinent, crisp, and on point. During the meeting, some of the things that we're able to do and that we'll be showing you here in just a moment is things like co-authoring of Office documents, right? So in real time and actually signing things with digital ink and doing other aspects of that. But really that whole real-time collaboration around content. I had a meeting last night with a colleague of mine in prep for that C-level session I mentioned, where we were actually building out some of the content. And so what we did was we shared a OneNote during the meeting. We had a meeting and we ran till last night at 10:30 at night. Fun. And while we were there, we were able to share the OneNote and start to actually work on the script collaboratively and be able to get that knocked out in real time. Also, things like live captions that you're able to do here. So I don't know, Russ, if you're able to enable that in the meeting for the people. I'm going to do that, and I was going to do that in a demo. Actually, I'm going to turn it on right here. And we'll see. I know he's pulling screens. I don't know if that's going to show up or there we go. It's showing up on mine. I don't know if it's showing up on yours. If somebody could say yes or no, because I do know he's framing things. So let's see. Anybody want to respond? Joe, can you just say yes or no? Oh, yes. Great. Susan, thank you. So things like closed captions, right? Again, sometimes we are multitasking and we actually have to. So I don't know about you, but frequently for myself during a meeting, I do have to do other things. There's meetings, large scale ones we're tuned into. And so one of the things that I'm able to do or that we actually do in Microsoft is we'll turn on the closed captioning so I actually can see visual indicators as I'm looking back and forth, because I might have to do something else that's taking my time, and I actually have to mute or lower my speakers. But with the closed captioning, we can see things. And also for those who are hearing impaired, again, this is that idea of inclusiveness, right? We want to bring everyone in, and you notice it's actually identifying who I am based upon the audio feed, so it's being able to capture that. So we have that. Another aspect that we do, and we're going to be taking a look at this, is something called together mode, where we're able to go and to be able to show everybody in a auditorium type view, be able to see, each other all looking at each other, and even select scenes around that. And finally, participate from anywhere that you like within a room, depending upon your devices. So I have a Microsoft Teams room, for example, in back of me, and I'm able to, get up and walk around, pull that into a meeting. And the camera, I've got a Logitech Rally Cam that'll actually follow me, and I can move and do all kinds of things. And it just helps during different meetings where I need to get up, stretch my legs, maybe do some, more bodily gestures. I'm able to do that with that type of a setup so that I can be freed from my desktop in front of just a webcam. Finally, real quickly, after meetings, some of the things that we can do to help people: review the meeting notes, track assignments, access meeting recordings. If you're not recording, yeah, it's nothing showing up, Russ, in the window there. So I saw that was Greg posted that. So, reviewing meeting notes and follow up, but recordings. When we set a meeting to record, today it gets uploaded into Stream. I'm going to talk about something that's coming that you can enable, though, in your enterprise today. But with that save up to Stream, I can actually open that video. I can not only watch it, but
hey, Mike, I lost your.
Yeah.
Michael, sorry, I lost the video feed for your share for what you're sharing.
Okay. Showing here. There we go. Back up again.
Okay, you got it. Yep, it's all set. Is that the right slide, the before, during, after?
Yeah. I'm on the last points here. So also transcripts. So one of the options that we have, we've got the feedback again. One of the options that we do is have the ability to transcript. So just like we're doing closed captionings here, I do this frequently in my own meetings. It's not enabled in this one, otherwise I would show you, or at least I don't see the option. It's grayed out for me. But starting transcription that'll actually appear on the left-hand side and allow you to be able to capture everything in real time. Russ, are you able to click that? On your end, I don't know if it's grayed out for you, the transcript only. Maybe, nope, and he's lost my feed again. I'm not sure what to do, but so I'll unshare and then reshare, but I think the mixing pieces might be. Can we go? I don't know if we can go direct. Can I just share direct? Morocco. Hello. Awesome. All right. So Russ, can we go ahead and just share mine direct instead of having the feed in there? Nope. Yeah, NDI.
Mike, it is shared.
Okay, so are you all seeing mine? I don't think so. I'm seeing an RV.
On the Teams meeting, Mike, I see your slides. So
all right.
Within the Teams meeting, I see what you're presenting.
Beautiful. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and head on back. All right. So moving on, and we're just about done with our slides here. I'm not going to talk about this. So a couple of things that we like to show, and we have the feedback coming again on the audio. But number one, when we talk about that whole stay in the flow, keeping the context going, doing things like within a meeting, and we're doing it here. People are chatting, which is great. And, Russ, we're getting a lot of audio feedback again. Yeah, if not speaking. There we go. So, where was I? Staying in the flow. And this is the last slide, and we're going to go on to demo. But a couple of things, chatting like we're doing right here, obviously, that keeps people engaged, right? People are letting us know what's going back and forth. And we do that all the time. We also do just little things like, I don't know about you if you have them enabled, but we do Giphies. And I'll say, let's see, just little things. And everybody can do a little Giphy if they want. Here we go. Got SpongeBob SquarePants. It's almost Friday. Things to keep things just like we would within a meeting when we're sitting in a conference room. If you're with a friend, they're next to you, across the way. We always talk. Yes, you gotta love Forrest Gump with the wave. And it's just little things that draw people's attention again and keep them from kind of drifting off. And so people think, oh, this is just being fun, but really it does have a purpose. So we have, those kind of things. Taking shared notes. So one of the things that we love to do during meetings, at least we do them internal, is when we set up a meeting, and I'll show you some of the pieces around that and some of the more advanced ones. We set up shared notes and we take them because that means at the conclusion of that session, I have consolidated meeting minutes from everybody. But we'll also attach other things like Microsoft, now it's called Tasks Planner, but where we're assigning tasks and things for follow-up and making sure that's done. Microsoft Whiteboard is a huge one that we use frequently internally so that we can, as we're drawing, we'll go ahead and do that kind of, collaborative design session and being able to do that. And again, we always record and we do transcripts. So, transcription is a big thing now internally because that allows me to go in and not only have at the conclusion, and I'll talk about where we're going with it, but with what's coming, you'll be able to download that as a Word file, which is nice, right? It's not just a VTT. So being able to do all that, that starts to get important. So I'm going to go ahead, let's drop out of that. And I want to start to show some of the things that we were talking about. And I'm going to start off with showing setting up a meeting. So I set up a demo one through the browser in my demo tenant here. And there are some, oh, wait a minute, there was one other piece. I'm sorry. I did have one other slide. What's coming? What's new and what's coming? So real quickly, a couple of things. AI-based noise suppression. So internally, this is enabled where I can turn on, we talked about that distraction. You're able to go in once you have this enabled in your tenant where it will do that background noise suppression. So I've had times where my dogs, I'm in a very open floor plan. Can you share the whiteboard during a meeting with external participants? Not right now. Yeah. So that's absolutely true. So there we go. So AI noise suppression, Joe said it works great. It works great in my house because I've had a couple of times in our open floor plan, the dogs erupt downstairs. I hear them loud and nobody else seems to hear them. So that's one piece. Next, we also have like I mentioned, the together mode, and I'm going to have Russ share that in a bit. I think he can do that on his end, but together mode provides that kind of auditorium style. And with the new scene selections, it allows us to actually pick out various scenes that are posted in there. So I can be on the command ship of Halo, or we can be in a theater, or we can be in a park or underwater, all kinds of goofy ones. But again, just to make it interesting, and we frequently use that internally to do a picture, right? Just everybody smile, say cheese. And again, draw everybody's attention. On top of that, polls in meetings. So one thing, I'm just going to bring this on over here for a second, our meeting we're in, because it's show, even though this isn't my tenant, it's showing up. You can create polls, and I think Russ or somebody, one of my co-people here has already started the draft they're going to use later. I'm going to turn it off, but you can go ahead and do polls in the meetings. It's slow rolling out, apparently. I'll follow up on that in just a second. But you can do polls in real time. We do them all the time because it's something that is very engaging. Following up on polls coming out, starting an instant meeting from your mobile device. When we get into the demo right after this, I'm going to show you, I can actually do a meet now from my phone, which is pretty cool. We also have NDI, which is a capability. You really got to be careful how you use it. I will say that, but it can bring a lot of power to meetings, and I have been using it for my own and my broadcasts on a regular basis. Call merge. So people who are using voice, one of the things, merging a phone call, you're in one with somebody, being able to dial them, pull other folks in. We can quickly merge people in and draw them into a session. And then finally, this is another piece that if you haven't seen this, you can enable this today in your environment. Save your recordings. Today they save them to OneDrive, to Stream. But moving forward, you will be able to turn that on so that you can have them auto-saved to your OneDrive, where they're permission to everybody in the meeting you set up. Or if you do it within a team, it'll be saved to the underlying SharePoint Online. And the benefit of that, all the things that you get from a compliance standpoint, records retention, etc., all applies, which is a beautiful thing, right? When we want to be able to actually set things around security and compliance, that all applies. Plus, you don't have the limitations of storage that you had within Microsoft Stream and needing to buy extra storage. So we've seen over 90% of all storage requirements within Stream coming from recorded meetings. Now you set up a meeting, invite a bunch of people, it stores it in your OneDrive, and if you're E3 and above, that virtually unlimited OneDrive capacity applies to that video content as well. And there's a link in the I put this deck, I attached it in the chat. You can see it up at the top, and you can go ahead and see these and more with descriptions there. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the features we were talking about. So here we are. We are looking at a meeting that I set up, and I'm going to bet it's a little bit different than your own. And I'll show you where you'll probably start seeing these. Number one, you can see some of the things we did talk about. For example, setting up meeting notes, right? So we have that shared OneNote for everybody. I also have my whiteboard capability that I could start whiteboarding now, and then that persistent whiteboard will be available. I also can add additional, all these different pieces, forms, third-party things, Excel spreadsheet. There's OneNote, Power Apps, Power BI, all kinds of goodies that we can add to make this meeting a much richer experience and have those things at our fingertips. They're all available. But where this really gets interesting is some of the things customers have been asking for. And this will, I think, get some people's attention. So we have, our response options, but under meeting options, look at this. Require registration. People have been asking us to have registration pages forever for meetings, which really starts to come into play where you go ahead and you want to have a large meeting with our new capability that's rolling out, where you can not only have this meeting as a meeting with the typical 350, but now scale it up to 1,000 real interactive and spill over through live events. So I can come in here and I can say, hey, I want to set up a registration. And so it's going to go ahead. It's going to open up a registration page, or it's going to try to. I did this in my client. It's not going to do it. Meeting options. Come on. I have to do that through the client. That's still in preview internally. Let me see real quick. I'm not able to do that for this meeting, am I? Let me just quick glance and come in here if I can. Yeah, it's not going to be here for this one. So what will come up, and actually, yeah. So what will come up when you do this is the following. I'll just have to describe it, I guess. So for people in your org, when you click that and turn that on, when I'm in my client, I get a pop-up and it has, all the basic information that I want to capture. It has information about the meeting. I can put in the details. I can list out the speakers and do all that. Then it captures all the basic information and allows me to then extend fields with custom ones for text, multiple choice. So I can grab a wealth of information around a person that when they go to attend, it's going to require their registration. It provides a link to a web page, and then it allows them to come in, register, and get that attendance information for the meeting, right? So we do have that. Oh, actually, is this it? No, that's the meeting attendance register. It's going to just show it looks like the CSV file. So you can see here we get the download once people have registered. I can track all that. We also have this capability called collaborative notes and agenda, which is new and coming. So when I select that, it goes ahead, it creates this OneNote. There we go. There's my shared OneNote. This is a little cooler. So I can go and add the agenda. I can add notes. Then during the meet, I can actually pre-meeting set up action items and tasks, assignments, and I can track all of this right here within that meeting invite. So we can do pre-meeting assignments and post-meeting. So it's great. Yeah, happy to see notes move away from the old wiki system. You and me both. Let me pull up the chat here so I can see who posted that. That would be Dwayne said that. Yes, me too. That wiki was, well, it was what it was. So yeah, that's where we have that. But I get a lot more options that I can do within any given meeting for here. And so here, let's see, open registration form. I don't know if this is going to work. Because I didn't actually build it. So let's see if it took the defaults or if it's going to give an error. We'll do there we go. So here you can see it did take the defaults. Oh, it's letting me go ahead. It brought me into the edit view. So for the registration, here's that form that it's going to build out. I can add the title. I can give, the year, month, date, time, and then the length of time around here. It's automatically, yeah, I know it's incorrect formatting because I didn't put anything here. It's going to automatically gray out because it is a Teams meeting. Then I can go and give my description, add speakers. Then we have the basic info. It's grabbing first name, last name, email, and add fields, which is pretty cool, right? So I can come in here, address, city, state, zip code, country, region, job title, and then custom questions. I can put as many of these as I'd like, text fields or multiple choice ones. So it's a nice rich environment though that I can then go ahead, build this all out, and then make that available. And then you see it gives me a registration link for those people to go in and register. So nice new looks like bookings, that interface. Why reinvent the wheel? That's all I'm going to say. Right? It's when you own the ecosystem, the nice thing is you can reuse different pieces. Registration only internal. So right now, all I can tell you is at the present, I'm in a preview mode, right? This is not final. It's not GA. In my preview mode, that's all that shows. So I'm not announcing anything here. I'm simply showing you as part of our announcement that we did previously, what I can see in preview today. All right, so Dinah, I hope I would say that stay tuned. That's all I can say. So that's some of the things around the meeting, to get it set up and prepped. Once I'm in the meeting, a couple of other things that we do have, and I don't have full access to them here because I'm going to come over here, this particular meeting that we're in. I'm going to drag that here into my share screen. Because I'm not on my tenant, I don't have access to all of them, but just again to show you, so a couple of things that we do have. We have the live captions, which you did see, and some of you are seeing now. The recording is happening. There's start transcription only. So this is the capability I was mentioning. It looks very much like the closed captioning, but it's showing a running dialogue, so you can actually scroll up and down. If you join a meeting late, you can scroll up and see what people said previously. And then at the conclusion, it's downloadable, right? When we're done, I have access to it. And it's not just this VTT transcript file, although I get that. There's a Word doc that I can use. So it's very cool. Hey, thanks, Dwayne, for sharing that. Transcribe your recordings. So it allows us to go ahead and to be able to, capture that whole dialogue of the meeting. If you miss it, maybe you just want to look at that and want to get up and go. And so that's a great thing. Some of the other things that we do, though, you've seen the raise hand where you can raise your hand and say, hey, call on me, teacher. But one of the other things we announced that some of you may be seeing, depending upon your access, some of you may be waiting for it to roll out, is this idea of real-time emojis. Again, creating that interaction. Hey, I see something. Oh, I loved hearing about that. I can click my little heart and get a little heart, over my dialogue piece down at the bottom. Or I can, do a thumbs up. We can clap. Yay! I like that announcement. Just little pieces, again, of interaction where I'm not making noise. I'm not chatting. I'm simply selecting an option so it indicates how I feel and calls the speaker's attention to that as well. So they can say, hey, I'm glad that you like to hear that. So it says, so my tenant settings on my client gives me this view. So you're seeing you're seeing, wow, let me see. So this is Ralph. So you have the gallery view. Yeah. Large gallery. I do have that. It looks like it's grayed out. Together mode you're getting. So together mode, if a whole bunch of us were there, you're able to click on that. Don't rub it in. Okay, rub it in. Why don't you? But we're also seeing background effects, the live captions where you can turn off or on, stop recording, broadcast over NDI. So if you do turn in some of that NDI components, you can go ahead and do those as well within your tenant. And again, great stuff that you're able to get at. So Ralph's seeing a lot of cool things right now. So those are some of the things that are there. Lastly, I'm going to bring up some of these options grayed out because not very many have on video. That's true as well. Yep. So I'm going to come on back here. And I did want to talk about a few things that you just saw, but also a few more. So we talk about, where Teams is going, and then I'm going to just open up to Q&A. But where is it going? Number one, more immersive experiences. You will see as we move forward increased tie-ins with other modes of pulling in video, pushing out video. So, external encoders, being able to join meetings through immersive devices. Many things are coming. Also, more connections and deeper connections to third-party services. We were super psyched when we went to launch, being able to add other apps to meetings, and we had 20 partners at launch. But that's going to just increase. That's just the beginning. So look for much more around that coming. Things that are going to help with those particular meetings. And finally, a few others. Number one, I can't wait for this to come. I'm very excited. for this to be able to be accessed, but custom layouts, right? So if you're doing a live event, right, or some type of custom meeting, being able to do these kind of dynamic layouts where, I don't know, you can have somebody and do things like a green screen knockout with the layout stuff in back of them during that product launch, right? So some really cool stuff that's coming. Stay tuned. It's coming soon. This has all been announced, so I'm not showing you anything. It's actually not that future tense. Meeting recap is another that's a big one, and this I think is going to have the most immediate impact on that whole idea of follow-up. So meeting recaps, it talks about here how it helps the team stay on track and work forward, both for participants and those who couldn't attend, because at the coming later this year, and we're almost there, it was saying coming this year, a recap with a meeting, you're going to get, number one, I mentioned the transcript, right? So I get that now internally where I can go ahead, transcript, and I can download that. You're going to see the chats that you track that, the shared files, all of that, though, being brought into a holistic view where I can automatically access that. And if you think about that, for example, I'll go back to the example I gave at the beginning, this idea where we had to do a pitch, and it says product pitch. I'm glad they used that screenshot for it. We actually had to do rehearse pitch, even though I'm not the sales guy, I'm the tech guy. We had to rehearse pitches that we're supposed to give. And so as a part of that, though, there was, the content that our manager shared, there was tips and tricks and things like that. In previous meetings, with meeting recap, you're going to get all that, so you don't have to go and start searching through things. It's just going to recap it, pull it together in a holistic view where you can access all that pertinent information. And the beauty of it, it's not only going to be available in Teams, but because this was a meeting that leverages Outlook for that scheduling, it's going to be available in your Outlook calendar as well. So I want to open up to Q&A, but just as some next steps, again, I attached this to the chat last night, this deck, so the link is here. Just as some next steps, you might want to go ahead, take a look at the Microsoft Virtual Event Playbook and Community. The link is right here. I'm going to just quick open it. But when you go there, skip verification, blah, blah, here it comes. When you go there, you're going to see this particular page here, and it has a downloadable playbook that's going to help you when you're setting up virtual events. We have a couple of things. The playbook, it has a whole series of checklists and review of roles and content that you can do. Just if you need those tips and tricks and things to help you make your meetings the most impactful they can be, we have content for you. Also, there is a community, right, where you can before we started this one, my co-presenters for today, the other people that are following up on me, I asked them about a piece of hardware that I'm thinking of getting, and I got some input around that and around alternative to that and things, because as you're producing events, there's all kinds of things, tips and tricks that other people have been doing that might help you. I actually had a 1-hour call with a customer this week who said, I'll just share this here. They were like, it really stinks that, when I share a video in my screen share, it's all choppy. And I told them, well, that's because you're sharing it as a screen share, right? Where it's doing 15 frames a second. It's not full frame. They were like, well, then how do we do it? Well, I showed them how to go ahead, take a secondary machine and take something like an Elgato. I actually have an $18 knockoff from Amazon that I purchased, and I showed them that. And I showed them how I can go ahead and bring in video full frame because I'm doing video HDMI capture from one machine to the next, and I'm sharing it as my webcam feed in and they were doing Teams live events. I share it as that, and I do the full whole screen, and then it's full frame video, all screen. And people, they were like, whoa, they actually ran out. They got approval while we were on the call and ran out to get, went to Best Buy to go purchase them for a presentation they're doing this week where they needed to do that. So community is huge. Join the community. Come in here, get the playbook, join now. And we also have event organizer checklists and these playbook sections for organizers to help you with common scenarios. But take a look, get to the resources. We want to help. And